What's up, weirdo? Shade Tree Surgeon here in my tank top because it's about 1,000,000 degrees outside. And let me tell you how you know you have a real friend. When it's 100 degrees in Florida with 100% humidity and you ask your friend to come in and do what he does on his day off, which he usually does in a shop with air conditioning, in your garage with no air conditioning, you've got a pretty good friend. Shelby, you are much appreciated and you're worth more than this garage. Unfortunately, this is where you are today. So we've got this FXR. It needs almost nothing. A set of handlebars, only because the ones that are on it are bent, and intake seals, which Shelby's gonna help me put in because I put in 4 sets of intake seals over my entire career as a I wouldn't even say amateur technician. I would say more like an actor, more like it. You know, like I put in 4 sets of intake seals, and I had a pretty good success rate of 50%. So I have a 50% fail rate on putting in intake seals. I'm asking for help. When you've got your friend and your friend's the expert and he's the one standing in the hot garage, you better believe you're the one lifting the lifts.
Yeah, right.
Because Shelby doesn't pump up lifts. Shelby pushes a button. I'm asking an artist to come over and finger paint with me, basically. I will tell you, never put a seat on your FXR that you have to screw off or it's not quick release. This is an old EVO thing, and it's any old EVO. It's not just FXRs. If you get a low battery condition, that starter relay will stick, or the solenoid will stick, or whatever it is, and that will start until the battery's dead or something catches on fire. Ask me how I know.
Shovelheads too.
Shovelheads too. Oh yeah, that's happened to be on a shovelhead too.
You have a low battery on a shovelhead, and especially like a pre-85 with the old side mount solenoids. They will weld themselves together, and it's gonna kind of try to start until it don't start or catches fire.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. The last time my FXR did that, I actually just ripped the side panel off. Some quick thinking on my part, I had actually attached the side panel where the starter relay is with zip ties, you know?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, very smart. Totally on purpose too, not because I was being lazy. But then I was able to rip it off when I had that condition happen and rip out the relay.
Yeah.
That's one thing. We're not going to do a whole lot of modifications to this bike. We're pretty much going to leave it stock because it got repainted at some point, and the paint is phenomenal. Oh, maybe we'll tighten those handlebars. One thing I do think we'll do, and I'll go ahead and order one just to avoid that situation I just talked about, is you put a push button starter on these things and then completely avoid that issue I just talked about a low battery causing a issue.
Right there, it's a solenoid cap with a button. That's all it is.
Yep, you see them on bikes all the time. If you've ever seen a guy on an older bike lean down and push something down there, that's the reason that's on there. And I think that's a mod anybody could agree with.
Yeah, that eliminates this guy, all this wiring, and it's a lot beefier switch.
Well, but that's a job for another day. Today, I'm gonna let Shelby off easy. Damn, look at that clean air filter. Man, he wasn't kidding. He said he took care of it.
Looks like he did.
So yeah, if you let an EVO sit for long enough, when it starts up, it's gonna spit out a big old loogie of oil, just like your Uncle Dale after a 3-pack Friday night.
Right? There's a reason I keep an entire change of clothes, including shoes, in my toolbox. Let's get the carburetor out of the way. Oh, gas!
Yeah.
And it's actually leaking.
Hey man, just like any old EVO, once you start to take it apart, you're like, hey, look, there's some other stuff.
Yep. Keen's gonna need to replace the plastic inlet.
Luckily, I've got a couple Keens lying around here. I did turn the gas off. To change those myself.
Check the gas, make sure it's off.
Hey, look at that. It's not off, actually. It's funny how Shelby starts taking the coil off and I hadn't even thought about it. But you know what, if I was by myself, when I would have thought about it? When I couldn't get to the intake bolts on this side.
Break the corrosion. Break the ball out and usually get this side off, but someone's already changed out the hex bolts.
I will tell you, every time I see you hit something with a hammer, the authority that you hit it with, hit it so much harder than I ever do, which you think you're like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I would hit it way hard. But Shelby knows what he's doing, so he knows how hard he can hit it. And it always shocks me. I'll go to hit something with a hammer, and he's like, go ahead, hit it with your purse. You do more, you do more damage. Here's a incredible review for the Harbor Freight composite ratchet, which I bought one on Shelby's recommendation, because there's one in Shelby's toolbox. You've had it for like a decade or something, right?
At least.
So yeah, when you're working on Harleys and they've got nice paint jobs, composite ratchets are real nice.
No scratch, my guy.
There you go. See, Shelby does it too. So I've stripped out enough Phillips heads by not using a Japanese industrial standard actual Phillips head on them. Well, I guess it isn't Phillips head, it's Japanese industrial standard, not Phillips. But I've stripped out enough that I bought this bit, and then Shelby goes, hey, I did the same thing, so I didn't have to spend a couple $100 on JS screwdrivers. I'm always just like, hell yeah. Anytime you say something, you're like, I do that too. I'm like, all right, man. Makes me feel like I had the right thought. This carburetor has definitely seen better days. It's got like a big crack right here too.
That's because someone had a hard time getting the idle mixture screw out. There's a plug that goes in there. Oh boy.
It's not very pleasant looking.
Oh, half that friggin' gasket's gone.
I have some donor gaskets.
There you go.
Around here. 170 main.
That's not stock. That's a Yoast kit. The emulsion tube there.
Oh, okay.
That's called a Yoast kit. Now that sounds a little small for a main jet. Check the pilot kit, see if that's good.
Yeah, I bet my fucking Sportster had a 170 in it.
It probably had like a 180, 185. That might be the problem you're having at top end where it's a lot of gas.
But it's got a 45.
Oh, okay. That's good.
That's good? Okay.
That's good.
Let's see where my jets in my very well organized carburetor workstation up here. I'm sure there's some jets here somewhere. Technical difficulties. Be right back. One other thing that Shelby found, because he knows how to check for everything, is that this right here was leaking. And I've never pulled one out before, so I figured I'd turn on the camera for this. And this is a plastic one, so you said it's just gonna break when I pull on it. Okay. Oh, and that's the brass insert that comes out.
Yep.
And that screws out.
No, that presses out.
That presses
You
out.
have to
Okay.
grab that in place nice and tight.
Oh, just literally just do the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pry bar or a screwdriver or something and pry on the carburetor up. Bam.
Hey, look at that. It came out. All right, this carb that came off the dipster off Alex's Sportster, that is now Jalisi's Sportster, is made out of brass, so I think that one's gonna work just fine for as long as I don't break it taking it out. Well, where'd you learn all this stuff? In a book?
The internet, baby.
The internet.
YouTube certified.
There we go. Yeah, YouTube University. Something tells me you got the actual university too. YouTube University and MMI. But hey, let me tell you what, Shelby uses YouTube as well.
Mm-hmm.
The magic.
I don't know everything. Then you open the vise all the way up and use the vise of the press.
That's my game.
You know how it feels.
All of my tricks used against me. Is that how it feels for other people? That sucks.
Terrible. Why would you do that? Oh, wait a minute. Right.
So this is all on, and now you know it's in the right position. That's why Shelby left these over here loose. Which I don't ever remember doing that on either of the times that I failed or succeeded on this. So I'm gonna remember that one, bud.
You're gonna have to do it again someday.
Yeah, well, you know, with EVOs and intake seals, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And that's not the end of the world. It's motorcycle maintenance. You have this engine design, the bottom end engine design of EVOs. You got to understand, this engine dates back to the 1970s. And look who's back. Carb was pissing a little gas, and this is one gigantic advantage to the way that Harley-Davidson carbs are set up to. If you've ever had to take the carbs out of a Japanese V-twin motocycle, you have experienced the 7th layer of hell. Try taking the carbs out of a Virago and tell me you still possess your sanity afterwards.
Not fun.
With Harley-Davidsons running the outside like this with just one carb, it's pretty damn easy. 2 bolts hold it in, and even if you don't take the throttle cables out, just like Shelby has it right here, you can twist it around to access the bolt.
Well, you can do it with this. Oh, no.
Oh, did the
fucking flat part of it in there.
Well, that'll fucking do it. Let me look over here and see if old Shade Tree Surgeon screwed the pooch. Look at that. Yeah. This is crazy. I thought this was off a different carb. That's 100% me turning the carb around, that falling out, and me not putting it back in. I even saw it on the rag. I was like, oh, that must be off a different one. Well, not only am I asking Shelby to do stuff on his day off, I'm literally making his life harder too. In many different ways, many and varied ways do I make his life harder. 1-800-ASK-SHELBY. Basically 1-800-ASK-SHELBY to be frustrated. It's not like he has to think very hard. He just has to navigate the minefield of my poor decisions. Okay, moment of truth. Although with Shelby involved, it's usually a lot more likely. Okay, fuel on. So I'm gonna do something else real quick because I've learned this from Shelby so many times. That if you try to start a Harley on a lift and you still have all your tools on it, your tools will quickly go from being on the lift to being on the floor.
Balances and
Yeah.
put your hand on the head, top of the rocker box. Yeah, it's hot, it's warm, but really above top temperature, use the backside of it. Burn here.
You're like, that's hot enough.
be like,
if you
ow,
touch it,
that's hot.
So is it good? It's doing good then? Hell yeah, man. Okay, we finally got the bike good. I rode around a little bit yesterday. Shelby rode around and really gave it the beans. This sucker is ready to rock and roll. Damn, that starts right up, dude. Well, you know, this is not my bike to tinker around with. This is a raffle bike. This bike already belongs to someone else. We just don't know who it is yet. And hell, they might not have even bought their ticket for it yet. But when it's a raffle bike, when someone's going home with this thing, man, I want to make sure it's done up right. So I'll do some things on it for sure, but when it comes right down to it, I'm going to let the experts handle the stuff that needs an expert, like what we did with Shelby last night. Well, I'm certainly capable of making the bike run. Shelby makes them run like they should. Well, this thing is rowdy. It's just crazy when you get on this and you're like, damn, dude, EVOs are really capable of this. Of course, the EVO I'm used to riding around had nowhere near this power, dude. I'm just used to riding around like a 100,000 mile low compression in the rear cylinder EVO. Then I get on this thing and I'm just like, all right, ramming speed, baby. That's what it feels like. That's what a hot EVO ought to feel like when you twist the throttle wide open. Oh yeah. Good engine, good brakes. Man, this bike is ready to roll, dude. I put down in the comments if anybody wanted me to mess with it, and some people said that, you know, do the things you said and just do some regular maintenance, but don't go too wild with it. Leave it a blank slate for the next side. But I had quite a few people in the comments go like, hey, dude, I'm in like the 5.3 and under club. Can you just leave those 11-inch shocks on it? Because I would love to have it with those. I might still put 13s on it, but even if I do, if you win it and you're under 5.5, you want those 11-inch shocks back on there, before we ship it out to you or before I drop it off to you, depending on where you are, I'll fix it right back up with the shorties. First on the menu is definitely tires. I can feel these things grabbing every little groove in the highway, and these dun slops started out rock hard, and the years have not done anything nicer for them. They technically expired in 2013, so cross your fingers rolling down the road at 60 plus miles an hour right now. Whoever built this motor, they built it right, man. This is exactly what you want. Not too much power. Like, it's rowdy, don't get me wrong, man. This thing can get away from you, but it's not so much power that the motor's overstressed. Everything feels fine. There's no extra vibrations. Just kind of like that whole thing of going, this is how it should have came out of the factory anyway. And I'll tell you right now, man, because I've spent plenty of time on twin cams, this thing would smoke a stock twin cam 88, like no problem whatsoever. I could be wrong, of course, and some of it also depends on the rider, and in my case, the weight of the rider, but I would say this thing feels just as fast as a 107 Milwaukee 8. It honestly does. Not that 107-inch Milwaukee 8 is like the fastest thing on the planet, but when you're on an FXR from 92, that feels like plenty of power, baby. And the way it comes on in this single cam EVO, the way it sounds, oh my God, dude. You just would never get tired of that lumpy old cam. Oh yeah. Check that idle now compared to the last video. Frickin' perfect. Of course, that's what happens when the boys from the Ride Factory get their hands on your bike. That's what you can expect. A little hack for all you tampons who watch the Shade Tree Surgeon channel. Although I think most of you probably know it. Motorcycle guys usually know all the hacks. When you need to do some title transfer work, always come to the AAA here off of West Shore, because they do it in here too, and there's almost never any line. There's no line at all because they weren't opened. Apparently, it's a national holiday. But hey, man, I ain't complaining, dude. I got to ride old 92 and spend some time on the FXR, so it's a good day still. Woo-hoo. Having an FXR that starts up like that is a beautiful thing, baby. It's a beautiful thing. It'd just be hard to not just give this thing the beams everywhere you go. Between that exhaust note and the hand of God pushing you, well, I don't know if it's the hand of God actually, because let me tell you what, man, you twist this throttle wide open, you ain't exactly having the most pure of thoughts. God might ride a Harley, but this bike doesn't exactly encourage you to be a saint, all right? Crazy what a great cruiser this is, man. I'll tell you, that 180 jet instead of the 170 really changed the way it accelerates too. Definitely needed a little more gas in that car. Cruising like this, though, you see why this was a convertible. I mean, not that it matters that much, but convertible, FXR Sport, like whatever, man. It's really all the same bike. But this motorcycle does share a heritage with the touring bike, with the FL. It's essentially the FL frame narrowed up with a different rake on it. So you get on it and you go like, hey, man, this thing definitely is a highway cruiser. It's perfectly happy cruising on the highway in top gear just as much as it is in the twisties. Really, really a special motorcycle. I got a new set of plugs to throw in it when I get home too, along with everything else, the oil change and the new tires and all that. So I just want whoever gets this to get a bike that's ready to rock and roll right out of the gate. So you can make it your own if you want to and do all the customization you want, but if you want to leave it right like this and just ride the wheels off of it, it's ready to go. Alright, holiday or not, I know the fuzz is still out here. If I started ripping through downtown like that, I might not be enjoying this holiday Monday so much. Not even in the 90s, in the middle of June, in summer? Yeah, baby. I'd be a fool if I complained today. Oh, Tesla, take it easy. Oh man, no, they got no chill on that thing right now. All right, holidays, nice weather, low traffic, and Shay Lacey definitely wants to take a ride on this FXR, so let's get back to the Ford. Well, I'm in the truck, not on the FXR, and I will tell you being in the truck is infinitely less cool than being on any motorcycle, let alone being on a motorcycle as awesome as the FXR. About 10 minutes ago, I was at my computer writing a little like history video. I'm gonna do a voiceover and do a whole like entire history of the FXR because we're talking about it right now and it's doing good things for Forgotten Angels, and I knew most of the history of the FXR already. I learned a couple things I didn't know. Just getting into the history of it and reading interviews with all the engineers that worked on the project, and including Eric Buell, of course, that's who everybody always talks about, but there was many other engineers on the project besides Eric Buell. Anyway, I'm going to save all that for the history video, not for this video. But reading about what the engineers wanted and what their vision originally was for this bike and how they wanted it to handle and how they got a free rein on this stuff, and they really just built like an engineer's bike, not a marketer's bike. That just really got me thinking, like, I cannot let this FXR sit with like 11-inch or 10-inch shocks or whatever it's got on it. Fork tubes lowered and the bars the way they are. And I know my man Sean, who's an amazing dude, I know he had it set up like that for his wife, or maybe someone set it up like that beforehand, but that whole setup like it is right now is part of how the marketing team tried to make the FXR look like a more traditional Harley and really ended up ruining what made it cool in the first place. So I just reading all this and getting into it, and I was just like, oh, I can't let the FXR sit like this, okay? I can't let it sit with those 10-inch shocks. So I'm heading to the storage unit right now because I'm pretty sure I got a set of stock 13-inch shocks bouncing around in there somewhere. We're on a mission from God, or maybe a mission from someone a little more down south. All a matter of perspective on that one, right? A lot of people say I'm the worst, but if you stand on your head, baby, I'm the best. Well, I'll tell you, there's a reason why I never throw anything away, or almost never throw anything away. I had quite a bit of success in the former Brapstar garage, which is now the Brapstar storage unit. It will be reborn one day, you mark my words. Now, when one day is, who knows? But right now, today, we've got an FXR to think about. From the storage unit, I managed to score some 3-inch pullbacks, and if I was keeping the bike, I would put 6-inch pullbacks on it. That's what I prefer. But in the spirit of keeping it accessible to anyone, even Shay riding it, I think 3-inch pullbacks split the difference really well. Luckily, I also had these handlebars sitting in there. These look pretty much the same as the handlebars that are on here now, except they're not bent. And even though I had plenty of people ask me to keep these 10-inch shocks on it, or they might be 11-inch, I didn't actually measure them. I do have some stock 13-inch shocks I'm going to throw on this thing, but I'm not going to get rid of the short shock. So if you happen to win this motorcycle, and by the way, you can win this for $25, 100% all proceeds going to charity, I'm going to keep those 11-inch shocks. I'll either send them with the bike so you can make up your own mind, or if you want me to, before we ship it out to you or before I drop it off, if you live close enough, I'll just put them back on there for you. I just know that the way this bike is right now, it doesn't handle like the engineers intended it to, and they put such love and care into how this thing handles, so we're putting it back. And finally, we have something that is actually kind of expensive, but it's just sitting around, and I've actually tried to give this away before and failed. This is a Saddleman Step Up, the Dynabro FXR Bro Special over here, the Cali Special, done up by Odin MFG. You guys know me, you know I always wear Odin gloves. I love the boys over at Odin, and they actually sent this seat to me for free. Now, it came off one of the dudes who owns Odin off of his personal bike because he was making a stylistic change to something else. I ran it on my personal FXR for a little while on Krusty Glide, you guys will remember that, but I decided I didn't really like the way it felt, and I switched back to a Lapera. Funny story about this seat, I actually ran just a comment and share giveaway on Instagram where I was like, comment and share my photo, and you know, I'll pick someone at random from there. Well, the first person I picked never responded back to me. The second person I picked didn't want it, and the third person didn't want it either. And after that, I just sat this thing on a shelf, and honestly, I forgot about it till now. So we're still giving it away. I said I was gonna give it away, and it didn't work out on Instagram, so now we're giving it away with this motorcycle. I think that the brown leather on this with the red of the tank is actually gonna look really good. Plus, what's the use of having an FXR and looking super cool if you can't get some girls on the back seat, baby? Or some boys on the back seats, or 2 girls on the bike, whatever your pleasure. I ain't judging. Got all of that, gonna do an oil change, get some fresh rubber put on this thing, and I think we're gonna be ready to go. Riding this around has made me miss Krusty Glide so much. The FXR really is a special motorcycle, man. And this is a special motorcycle for a special cause. The person who sold me this motorcycle sold me at a very heavily discounted rate because he wanted to help out Forgotten Angels. We're gonna be pulling a winner for this bike live on the Shade Tree Surgeon channel. $25 gets you in. I promise you, the chances of winning this are higher than a scratch off. Some of the raffles we've done have literally been like a 1 in 250 chance, a 1 in 300 chance. These odds are good and only for 25 bucks. Now, if you don't have 25 bucks, that's fine. Or if that's cutting you short, that's fine too. I don't want anyone to overextend themselves. I don't want anyone to spend money they don't have. If you don't have any money to buy a raffle ticket to donate to Forgotten Angels, you can share the video. You can tell somebody about it. There are other things you can do that don't cost $1. But if you want this red FXR old 92 with this built EVO, 25 bucks, that gets you a chance at it. But even if you don't win it, you know your money's going to an amazing cause. Forgotten Angels helps out young men who have aged out of the foster care system, who've been made homeless by a system that was supposed to protect them, who've been let down by their parents who were supposed to give them life skills, who have just been pushed out into this world with absolutely no experience, no network, no support system, nothing. And it's not just them that Forgotten Angels is helping out either. It's homelessness of all sorts. It's people who are left behind. It's people who are forgotten. It's people who still need some guidance in their life, who need somebody to keep an eye out for them, people who need a mentor, people who just need to have someone who comes up to them and holds them accountable. Because guess what? I don't know when you grew up, but I didn't grow up the second I turned 18. It took a lot longer than that. And I've needed people to hold me accountable and make sure I did what I was supposed to do almost my entire life. And a lot of the problems we have out here in the world, a lot of the problems we have with people falling behind, with the homelessness that exists in America that drives me nuts that we live in this country and exist here, is just people sometimes just need a helping hand. And you might say 25 bucks doesn't make a difference, but 25 bucks is a tank of gas, 25 bucks is a couple days of food, 25 bucks can save somebody's life. It's more than you think, and it does way more than you think. And at Forgotten Angels, it doesn't hit any branches on the way down. I don't take any money out of this raffle. David doesn't take a paycheck, and Cindy certainly doesn't either. 100% of this money that gets donated goes directly where it needs to go. There's no administration, there's no overhead, it goes where it needs to go. This isn't some gigantic multinational corporation of a charity where people are getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for a salary. This is real people helping real people in our community who need it most. And guess what? Together, we can change the world. Together, we're gonna take Forgotten Angels, the mission and the attitude of us, of bad people doing good things, of the bikers here. This raffle has never gone outside of my channel. I hope you all know that. Every dollar we've ever raised has been us. It's been all you weirdos out there who hit subscribe, who support these videos, who share them. We've never gone past that. We've never had a viral hit. We've never had a big news piece beast that shot us into the next level. All of this has just been us, a bunch of scummy, dirty, nasty, bad people, a bunch of bikers who are coming together to help somebody else who's been shunned by society, somebody else whose society is left behind. And I know a lot of you guys feel that, a lot of you guys know what that feels like, and let me tell you, it feels good to know that you can actually make a difference in the world, that you can do something. And guess what? We don't need the powers that be, we don't need the status quo out there to tell us how we do it, because we're doing it ourselves. That link's down below. Someone out there is gonna get a badass FXR, and it also enters you for a chance to be my neighbor. I don't know if that's a punishment or a reward, but you could also win a house. Every ticket bought enters you to win a house or a cash prize of $250,000. You take your pick, baby. Follow that link and be chaotic good. We are good-hearted villains and dangerous women, and we're making waves out there. We might be scum, but eventually scum rises to the top. Let's change the world. Until next time, y'all, keep it weird.
Crashing through the sky comes a fearful cry. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Armies of the night, evil taking flight. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Panic spreading far and wide. Can the world oppose the deadliest of foes? Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Who will risk it all to end the evil call of Shade Tree? Army. Shade Tree, army. They never give up, they never say die, walking tall with banners high. Shade Tree Army, a ruthless gang of scum, villains, freaks, and bikers determined to rule the world.